Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto. Every day on this channel, we teach you how to make money with digital assets. Smash that like, everybody. I'm your host, DZ, and I'm here with TJ today. And we're in a very, very special circumstance right now, TJ. We're about to get kicked out this building.
Oh, yeah?
Isn't that what's happening here? I see dudes with like real expensive trucks, like looking at the walls, you know, they're checking the bones.
Yeah, they're looking through. I don't know about kicked out, but they're definitely kicking the tires. We'll say that. So,
yeah. So getting ready for a shift in studio. Now, this is going to be months away, but the process seems real, and I'm excited for it. Are you folks ready for a new set?
I am, but real quick, your camera is super choppy. Can you try just refreshing StreamYard for me? Just hit the refresh button.
You just want me to hit refresh right here?
Yeah.
All right, folks, I may disappear for 1.7.
Yeah. He's going to disappear. He'll be right back. Big day coming today. Obviously, we have a FOMC hearing. We've got crazy GDP numbers coming in, all sorts of different stuff. And he's back. He's back. I'll switch this. Yeah, way better. Way better.
But speaking of choppy, how about the markets? The markets are looking choppy. We got the 1 minute candle here, and markets are flat, just trying to choose a direction.
I need your screen again.
Oh, see, I don't even know what I'm doing over here.
No, it's my fault.
Yeah, no, I left, and you no longer get to see my screen. But boom, here we go. 3, 2, 1, pow. This is the 1 minute chart on Bitcoin, but we go to the 5 minute. You'll see that Bitcoin trying to choose a direction. We got the bulls and the bears fighting right now, but we did put in a slightly higher low in the wee hours this morning. This is right here at 8 a.m. And the dip that we saw was right at midnight, 12:30 after midnight, says the old rock band here. And we go to the 1 hour chart. You see Bitcoin just still coiling and coiling and coiling and coiling. It has been coiling since July 11th, TJ. And we talked about the Bollinger Bands yesterday. In this episode, we're going to talk about what the recent lack of volatility means for Bitcoin and how it could be a huge, insane mega pump. And we're also going to talk about, of course, the GDP numbers. Now, TJ, the economy came in a little bit hotter and a little bit stronger than people were suspecting. Let me just ask you a simple question. Are the Trump tariffs working?
Yeah, I think they are in some ways. It's pretty interesting. They're a little bit nuanced. I was reading a little bit about, it's not as much, in my opinion, what the tariffs are as it is the commitments he's getting for them to agree to basically standard tariffs. So the EU tariff came, got agreed to over the weekend. And I want to say it was something like several billion-dollar investments in energy and several other things. And that's usually what's happening is as these negotiations happen, we get an agreement that says we're going to spend huge amounts in the United States in order to not have to pay too much for these imports and exports. And that, I think, is a winning strategy. It's the part that the media doesn't really talk about. Everybody's focus is it 10%, is it 20%, is it 30%, 15%? That, to me, I think is all a negotiating number to get financial commitments of spending in the United States. And the more we can lock those in, the more, obviously dollars are flowing to the United States. So I think it is working slowly.
Yeah, we saw the June. We did have a governmental surplus. Now, a lot of taxes came in, quarterly taxes. But DCA and Prey saying you were celebrating more taxes. I'm celebrating what seems to be, maybe getting away from just the runaway deficit. If we could start closing that gap, that would be good. Well, let's look at the Bitcoin market, the crypto market here. Most coins are down slightly. We just hit refresh. We got that fresh data here. Smash that like button for it. XRP is down 1%, BNB down 3.3%, and Dogecoin also down 3%. Cardano down about 3% here. But let's look at the big gainers. There's not much. We got Story, and XDC is up here. Toncoin. Oh, how about that Toncoin? We are going to release a video on the Ton wallet, the open network, if you will. Curve DAO also a little bit to the upside here. Look at that Curve Dow 30-day chart there, TJ.
Nice.
It's now up 100%.
Yeah, Curve, one of my bigger holdings. Obviously, you guys know I'm big in the DeFi. That's my main thesis. That
You started pumping and bull posting when it was boring. What was your thesis when you were talking about it, say, a month ago before the 100% pump?
It was mostly big banks coming into this, and the fact that the Genius Act and the stablecoin, a lot of the regulatory clarity that's happening. I guess it was the Clarity Act, the Genius Act. That removed the legal and the potential what the risks for banks to participate in DeFi. So now all of the big money in the world is able to take advantage of those juicy APRs. And I really think decentralized finance is the future of finance, and it won't really be called DeFi forever. It will just be finance. All of the big banks are going to be doing it. They're going to be offering little pieces of that yield to their customers to attract new customers. My prediction is you're going to start to see savings accounts offering 2-3% on dollars, not 0.0023%. So, and we're seeing that start to play out. Aave is doing extremely well. Curve, obviously Ethereum has been kind of the underpinning of a lot of that stuff. Aerodrome, Black Hole is something else we've been participating in. So some DeFi coming up on Avalanche, which we like to see, but largely we participate in DeFi based on Ethereum, whether that's Base or Solana. So
all right, well, let's talk about the YouTube real quick. Tonight we're going to drop a video on the big banks secretly acquiring Bitcoin. We're about to get Q2 filings in roughly about 14-15 days. They have 45 days after Q2 to submit, I think it's a 19.4 form. This 45 days gives them time to maybe reposition. We're hearing rumors that in the meantime, we got, like I said, 2 weeks until we see what the banks did in the second quarter. I'm hearing reports that right now they're acquiring and getting aggressive with their Bitcoin accumulation, maybe trying to front run you before you realize that they are buying a bunch of Bitcoin. But we put out this video last night. US dollar is crashing. We talked about this. YouTube did not like this one. So if you want to give us some love, go watch that one if you haven't checked it. What was our original title? We had something on there like Fed stealing.
Yeah,
something.
the Fed is stealing from you. They didn't like it. They did not like that.
I guess in retrospect,
yeah,
makes sense. It makes sense. All right, well, let's talk about the GDP. Real quick. This is the number Geiger counter. Also, Discover posting about this, but this graph I just want to show because the quarterly GDP growth was negative last quarter. If you recall, we did diminish 0.5%, but now we came in with 3%. Expectations were only 2.4%. So the recession from Q1 is now canceled. We are seeing some strong growth in the markets here. So this is really good. Now, we're going to talk about GDP, but let's talk about the 50% move after Bitcoin lack of volatility here. So Bitcoin implied volatility index has fallen to the lowest level since September 2023. This is hinting at a potential breakout. And so this is a 30-day implied volatility index, and it dropped to a metric, the number of 40, fallen below 45. It has only fallen below 45 21 times since in the past 149 weeks, or since September 22. Historically, this preceded periods of a local bottom followed by strong upward moves, followed by a Bitcoin pump. Last time we were this low, September 23, we had a 50% rally from 26,000. We went up to about 39.40. Now, since late 22, every weekly close below this match with price consolidation or significant bullish reversals for Bitcoin. So we're seeing a lot of volatility declining, and this historically leads to pumps. So I wanted to show this. This blue area is low volatility. You see early in Bitcoin, especially that 2017, 2018 run, this was a lot of dumping, a lot of volatility. 2021 post-halving year, a lot of volatility. But if you look at the periods of low volatility, we have Q2, Q3, 2023. That's that September area. Great time to buy Bitcoin. Let's go back even to the previous time we saw deep areas of low volatility. 2020 in the summer, the DeFi summer, great time to buy Bitcoin. And then TJ, look at the next time, Q3, a mere weeks before Tesla announced Bitcoin. And then that's when Bitcoin went on a significant rally.
Yeah.
The volatility here is Bitcoin pumps.
Yeah. What's really interesting to look at is that 2020 part right there. You know, like we had some DeFi summer happening, but right before that blue section. And that's when there was some activity there popping off like March.
I wonder what happened
June.
in March 2020.
Yeah. Uniswap cracked liquidity and everybody started trading on Uniswap. But
also there's the sneeze heard around the world.
sneeze heard around the world.
March 2020.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was deep into the crypto. Yeah, exactly. I've already blocked that out of my
A dang
memory.
pangolin.
But what's interesting is, like you said, it lulls you to sleep there, and then we got a big move, and then late 2020 kind of volatility died down, and then look at what came after that, Q4 all the way into that bright red.
Mega pump.
That was basically all-time highs, lulled you to sleep a little bit, and then another all-time high in late 21s or May, June or whatever. So this could be the calm before the storm right here. I think
obviously 2019, but the markets and the economies and the world had a larger impact in March 2020, of course. There. All right, let's talk about the GDP here. So the U.S. economy did rebound with a 3% annualized GDP growth in Q2. And so that's basically growing year over year. And this was considering the data from April to June. And so that followed that 0.5% drop, putting a hard stop to the contraction, even as lower imports and stronger consumer spending pulled the real GDP back into positive territory. Wasn't across the board, though. While Americans did spend more at home and bought fewer foreign goods, which both helped GDP rise, the economy also saw drops in investment and exports during that same quarter. But the losses there weren't enough to drag the whole figure down. So the loss in exports was basically buoyed by more internal buying. Now, in simple terms, people spent more, bought less from overseas, and that combo pushed the headline number back into the green. Do you think this is going to continue? We continue to buy less from overseas and we continue to spend more?
Yeah, I think we're trending in that direction. Buy less and spend more. You're talking about here, or
buy less from overseas?
Yeah, I think so. And I think when I went back and looked, these GDP numbers weren't necessarily earth-shattering to me. Like, we had a couple down, when it's the biggest one since 2 quarters ago. It's like, okay. But yeah, it's positive to see good growth. The main thing for me is it shattered expectations. So as long as we can keep beating expectations, I think that is good for the U.S. We know they printed a bunch of money, so I think a lot of the numbers will get inflated up, which will allow them to go risk on.
One thing I am interested in is the disparity here. So we went from negative 0.5 to positive 3. So we're seeing a 3.5% swing quarter over quarter. And if you think about it in those terms, it is a major, major change there. So while GDP did rebound Q2, job market also got its own update. This one's kind of slipping under the radar. We do have an ADP report that just came out, showed private payrolls rose by 100K during the month. That beat expectations, who were expecting 64,000 new jobs. June's numbers initially reported, this is why I almost don't even like the job reports. We're looking at June's numbers, initially reported 33,000 jobs were lost. Well, let's decline that 30. Only $23,000 jobs decline there. So we're seeing a little bit of strength in the job market as well. It's not just the economy. It's not just exports, imports. GDP is starting to boom, and this might have a pretty good impact on what Trump thinks about Powell. He is pissed at Powell. He is now telling Powell, basically, you got to cut rates again. This is coming from anonymous sources, but supposedly immediately after the news went out on the GDP numbers, Trump reiterated his stance that the Fed needs to lower interest rates as soon as today. Should we go to Polymarket and see if the markets are listening to Trump?
Yeah, let's do it. I don't think they are, but
I don't think they are either. Fed decision in July.
90.
Yeah, no change.
Yeah,
98. Well, let's see. What about a one-day change?
No.
97.7 to 97.1 back to 98.2. Yeah, really not much of a change there.
And Polymarket has been very accurate especially with political and Fed rate type stuff recently. I would love to see it. Deep down, I would love for him to come out and shock the world and do a 25 basis point cut. I absolutely don't see it happening. I do think we get some later in the year. I know at one point.
Let's look here. So we also have September. This is 1 week. We are seeing an increase on 25% decrease. No change is declining.
Yeah, and we've got so now it's odds are we're going to get a cut in September, which not always. At some point I thought we were going to get one this summer, and then I moved it to September. And I do think we see some this year. There were numbers also on 2 cuts in the year. So we've got September, October, and I want to say there's one in December too.
Yeah, so we have a 59% chance of a cut in Was this September? And then we have the 55% chance of a cut in October.
Oh yeah, because you're counting,
chance because 2% increase there.
Yeah, so it's really, it's. I think whenever that happens, that's when altcoins really start to run. Maybe Ethereum kind of leads the charge going into September. I'm fine with it to stay a little bit calm right now in this range. I do think we're going to see an extremely bullish action afterwards. It really comes down to the printing of the money and the regulation getting approved. So yeah.
What do you think of Brandomation's take here? Trump is actually going to fight Powell during the UFC MMA match held at the White House during the 250th birthday
of
America.
I'd buy that pay-per-view.
Who wins?
Trump. I put my money on Trump.
I would actually put my money on Trump, and it's just a physics thing because of the change in weight. He just weighs so much more.
I just feel he just seems scrappier.
Elon Musk did say, the bigger guys, they could do the walrus.
Just smash you.
You just lay on top and just flail around and suffocate them.
I mean, he is an athlete. I saw a clip. I think yesterday they opened up a new golf course. It was like Trump's new course or whatever. It was the first drive on the course. The whole world's watching. Not like there's any pressure. He has to tee off, steps up, crushes it 290 yards straight down the fairway. So
cut full screen. This is finishing move.
Oh man,
I shouldn't have done that. I should. What's wrong with me? All right. Speaking of golfing, I did watch Happy Gilmore 2.
Yeah.
We'll get back to crypto in a second. It was what you would expect from an Adam Sandler movie. Don't expect, Saving Private Ryan or Goodfellas, but I would say it's much better than Grown Ups. Not as good as Happy Gilmore 1.
Yeah. No, of course. I mean, I don't think you're gonna. I mean, Happy Gilmore 1 is kind of a classic, and there's so much nostalgia there. It's gonna be hard to outdo that. I was very happy with it. I was a hockey player growing up, loved Happy Gilmore.
All right, out of 10, I give it was a solid 7 out of 10.
I'll say it's the best thing I've watched on Netflix in a long time. Like as far as a Netflix movie goes, it's really good for that. And then one comment I saw about it that I agreed with, it's like anybody who was upset with Adam Sandler, Happy Gilmore 2, like it's on them. Like it was never pretending to be anything other than what it was. True. Like it's cheesy comedy, nostalgia, cameos. Like it made me laugh out loud several times. That's all. I'll take it.
Hey, that's all you can expect. Waterboy is better than Waterboy. Not the big fan of Waterboy.
Really, you don't like Waterboy?
That little Nicky. I when he has the voice, the voice takes me out, man. It's the voice.
Huh.
If he spoke normally, maybe I wouldn't mind. All right, one more thing on Polymarket here. $250 on Bitcoin hitting 200K will pay out $1,500
approximately.
Yeah. Woo, approximately. Okay, yeah, 1470. I mean, that is. Oh man,
that's pretty good odds, right?
Not terrible odds.
Yeah.
It's not terrible odds.
I want you guys to
be
know,
okay with $25.
Yeah, I want you guys to know. Go comment on this. I just put it in the chat. I want to know what bet you guys would take, or if you think I'm making a good bet.
Which one would I take? I mean, you're not really getting much of a payout on 150,
right? But that's your kind of number. That's kind of what I realized. Like I've been saying since 2023 that I think we're going to 200K. Why don't I put my money where my mouth is? It's kind of fun. It's kind of like futures trading for dummies, somewhat like you can take profits along the way as you get it. That's one of the coolest things I think about.
I mean, the 130 almost seems like pretty good bet. Now, back in the day, you bet on Mike Tyson, and you put $100 down to Mike Tyson win. You don't make $200. The odds would be so crazy. You put down $100, you get 110 back. This isn't terrible. I mean, you put down $100 on Bitcoin hitting 130K, you're getting like 25, $30 there, $20. I don't hate that.
Yeah,
I don't hate that.
I'm just curious. I want to know from the Disco fam. You guys are one of the smartest out there. If you're not following us on X, you should. That's where I'm putting most of the breaking information. Like we had the GDP numbers on there first thing this morning, all sorts of stuff like that. But let me know what bet you would take. Would anybody take that 250 bet? Would it's
$2 million? Yeah, I'm avoiding that one.
Yeah, for me though, 200K is a pretty like risk reward adjusted. That's where I'm putting my money. 160 isn't an option. You got to look at what the options they have. But we're probably going to start playing with this a little bit more. It's been fun. I know it looks like they have a bet on there if it's coming full bore to the U.S., which it looks like it is. There's 60% odds on that. So let us know what you think.
One last thing. It is according to this, twice as likely Bitcoin hits 70K versus 250K The 250 is pretty good payout too. That's about a 14x. So you put down $100, yeah, you're getting like like you said, about that 1460 there. So really good odds.
Starts getting close to 200, I might take some profits and roll it up to two. If you get to 200 by October, maybe roll some profits into the 250.
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's talk about back to Trump here. Trump's golden age of crypto report is not out yet. The report is coming out today, but we got the preview. Smash that like button. So it's the golden age of crypto. It's the White House Working Group report. And we got some of the preemptive details. So number one, they want coordination between the SEC and the CFTC. This should enable digital asset trading at a federal level immediately, according to the report set to be released Wednesday, which also embraces DeFi. Now, one of the other things they're looking at is they want to create a system without bureaucratic delays via safe harbors and regulatory sandboxes. So they want to essentially cut the red tape when it comes to being a large company working with crypto. And much of what we're seeing here is from this president's working group on digital asset markets already being shown today. So some of this is referenced in the Genius Act. Some of this is in the Clarity Act to oversee crypto markets. But there is some other stuff not included, at least in the preview. Again, maybe it's going to be in the final report there. I'm leaning no. We haven't seen any detail or plans for the federal government to stockpile Bitcoin or other digital assets. Is it bearish if we don't get a Bitcoin stockpile clarification?
No, not in my opinion. I mean, obviously it'd be bullish if there was information in there about it, which would have been great, but I wasn't.
What a lot of people are wanting, though.
Yeah, people are wanting it. I am too. I just wasn't really expecting it. That is so much more of a larger project. There's a lot more politics involved in it. So I think from a political standpoint, if you're trying to move things forward and make progress, sometimes separating things like, hey, we know we can push all this stuff through, and really nobody's going to fight about getting the SEC and the CFTC on board and getting some clarity. Like, we've already kind of got approval on that. Let's get this out, get this done, and then we'll tackle the big hairy project in kind of a standalone piece. That's more or less what I think is going to happen. And for people that thought we were going to get a strategic Bitcoin reserve immediately, like if that gets done and announced and we're getting buys from the United States or even just commitment to it before the end of the presidency, I'll be very happy.
I would assume the same. Now, there is one thing they're trying to put in the fast lane. Okay, shout out to the Eagles. Life in the fast lane. Stablecoins. Stablecoins seen as strengthening the role of the U.S. dollar also takes center stage in the preview. It looks like they want to. The working group is urging agencies to implement it quickly. A lot of the details from the Genius Act there. So they want that federal framework for stablecoins. I have my own conspiratorial reason on why they're trying to put stablecoins in the fast lane. You might agree here, TJ. Why are they putting a focus and an emphasis on stablecoins?
Because banks are feeling threatened. Their businesses are feeling threatened, and they're the ones lobbying to make this happen fast so that they can compete with crypto startups like Coinbase, like Kraken, like Crypto.com.
See, I was thinking they want buy pressure for 30-year treasury notes and AKA U.S. debt.
I think that's part of it too. That's the government's reason for it. They need buying pressure on the U.S. dollar. But I think it's what's interesting is when for a long time, banks and governments' interests have been aligned because governments have used banks as a form of law enforcement. Right now, they're realizing we're both losing control. Not only is the government losing control, but banks are losing control. They're not. They pretty much had a monopoly. Like, you had to play in their system. There wasn't an alternative, so they really didn't have to innovate. Now there's an alternative, and they're not only are they seeing people that have been in the traditional system leaving in droves, but they're also seeing the younger generation just never getting into their system. There's going to be, again, 16, 18-year-olds, probably 20-year-olds now that never have a bank account. Their first experience in transacting value is going to be within a crypto wallet. And then when they get brought into a bank to open a bank account and they get told you can transact in these hours and at this time and there's these fees and we're closed, they're gonna be like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, why would I choose this system? It's far inferior and it costs more. And so I think they've finally woken up to that, and in order to be able to compete with crypto, they're gonna have to innovate and adapt. And I think that's what we're seeing, and they're trying to play catch up.
TJ, my favorite Joe Budden rap song?
No.
Pump it up. Look at Bitcoin right now.
Hey,
5-minute candles.
now the data's hitting.
Someone's saying that 10-minute is looking real juicy.
Show me
That is
ETH.
a 10-minute, what you saw thrown on the WNBA floor right there. As I tell Drew, just don't play the video, Drew. You can say it, briefly, but move on quickly, which is what we're going to do right here.
Wait, real quick. While we got charts up, give me some Ethereum. Tell me my
we were
trade's
talking about
doing
ETH
good.
just hit 3,800.
Tell me it did.
Okay.
Oh, big candle. What's the top of that wick?
Top of this wick, hitting some. So ETH did pretty good 3 a.m. this morning. So remember we talked about dumping at midnight. That's 12:30 technically. Until 3, ETH was just like on steroids, much more than Bitcoin. And so ETH also looking pretty good. Right. Once we zoom out, maybe go to the 1 hour. Okay, what's this big yellow line? Is this just a circle?
That's 4K, I think.
Oh, is that's the ancient dragon resistance?
That's if we break that, it's game time.
Woo!
And we've rejected off of it a few times. We've tested it, I think, 3 times now. And you guys know.
Let's check the date on this, or the amount. This weekly candles, 1,365 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
Multi-year, like a 4-year trend line. If we break that, that's alt season right there.
Should we do a little just back of the napkin Fibonacci's here?
Yeah, give it to me.
All right, so we're going to go from the swing high to the swing low.
Give me 8K ETH.
And things, I do like to see, does it kind of listen? It definitely was listening. I mean, during this period right here, you could definitely see. So you might be able to get a cleaner Fibonacci going from this swing high to this swing low. But we'll just run with this one. Next level, the 1618, using the 2021 top, $7,000 ETH.
Close enough.
If we go real bullish, the 2618, $11,000 ETH. And then there's the Donald Trump and let's see, Donald Trump's daughter divorces her husband Jared and then marries Vitalik.
Joe Lubin.
Or Joe Lubin's more bullish.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't want to get into it. Vitalik, though, he's going to leave her happy. Let's just say that's a $17,000 ETH there.
People can dream. People can dream.
Now, I do want to do a more fair one here. I would say more accurate would be going to the local swing high, maybe right here to this local swing low. That's going to give us maybe a more concise Fibonacci level. Term.
Yeah.
And you can definitely see it's, definitely listening a little bit more at this level. The 168 still 5,800. Still very, very bullish there.
Yeah, that could be this year. 5,800.
Vitalik would be power bottom. He would get crushed. I think she's pretty tall, so I don't know how that'd work out for him. Let's get into this SEC story here. Speaking of the government, speaking of giving the green light to crypto, this is major. Finally got the in-kind redemption for spot Bitcoin and ETH ETFs. We talked about this. Guess which company applied for this? Wasn't all of them. It was one particular ETF.
BlackRock.
What does Easy always say about BlackRock's ETF applications?
They always go through.
It's like 577 to 1. I call them the canary in the coal mine. If you see other ETFs are shedding, but BlackRock's ETFs are, and have a lot of money coming in, maybe that's the more important metric to look at there. It was BlackRock. They filed for in-kind transactions in January, and they stand to benefit alongside other major ETF issuers. And so the SEC has approved the use of in-kind creation and redemption process for spot Bitcoin and ETH ETFs. You can probably figure out what that kind of means, but this allows the consumers, the buyers, large institutional investors who facilitate ETF liquidity to create and redeem these financial instruments directly into Bitcoin or ETH, rather than having to use cash. So if you're a big whale, you got $1 million of Bitcoin ETFs, you can't just withdraw 1 million Bitcoin into a cold storage like Arculus. You have to withdraw into cash, and then you have to market buy that Bitcoin, creating all types of legal hurdles, tax burdens, and just a headache. It adds friction. Now, this marks the SEC's first major crypto-friendly policy move since Paul Atkins was named agency chair earlier this year. Now, he's a former SEC commissioner known for being favorable for crypto, his market-friendly views, and has long advocated for a more open regulatory approach towards digital assets. So he said it's a new day at the SEC. Very, very good for crypto holders. And I would say largely this is good for altcoin holders. I can see the ETH ETF, now that there's in-kind redemption, creating more fuel for the altcoin rally that, of course, we're all expecting. Eric Balchunas, there's one other kind of thing that kind of slipped through the radar here. Let's see here. Yeah, all right. So, no, we got it. And so until now, They had to have the cash redemptions, like we were saying, but they also approved this, and this is actually more bullish than the in-kind redemptions potentially, or more bearish, depending on how you're feeling about this. They increased position limits for options trading. What does this actually mean? So this restricts the number of contracts, or let's just say shares, essentially, they can control in a single security to prevent market manipulation. This is a downstream effect of the Lehman Brothers silver manipulation in the 80s. We've talked about it in the past. I don't want to go too sidetracked here, but essentially this is going to 10x. This went up an order of magnitude. They can now have 250,000 contracts from 25,000 contracts. So essentially BlackRock can now pump your bag harder or dump your bag harder. Net gain, net negative here. What do you think?
Net gain to me. I mean, volatility is momentum, in my opinion. Volatility is energy. So I'm not scared.
Volatility is the magic sauce of Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm not
We
scared.
would be bored if it was just, oh yeah, it moves 5% higher every 6 months forever now.
Exactly. I'm not. If you've been in this space for a while, you're not scared of volatility. This is a risky environment, but you got to take risk to make it. And realistically, at this point, not getting into Bitcoin is the bigger risk. Like staying in the dollar to me is a far greater risk than not getting into Bitcoin. That being said, what's substantial to me about this and kind of what's encouraging is with the in-kind redemptions, it also is far reduces the risk of people playing games with paper Bitcoin. You guys hear us talk about paper Bitcoin a decent amount. The more that it's getting executed in kind redemptions or Bitcoin bought and sold for Bitcoin, not cash representations on paper and contract, the better. Because when there's a lot of paper and contracts flying around, you owe me this, I owe you. It's basically tons of IOUs. The whole derivative market.
But Lloyd said IOUs are just as good as money.
Right. And that's where you start to get some sketchy stuff going where people inflate the supply of Bitcoin on paper. I do think that's inevitable. I do think that happens. But the people that actually have the real Bitcoin will be the powerful ones in the future. So this is something I've been working on or thinking about, sharing with you guys. I do, and I've talked about a lot of when I do member portfolio reviews in the Discord. This is something I talk with a lot of our members about, is having financial goals. I do think it's a very important thing for all of you to do, to have a financial savings goal in Bitcoin, whether that's 0.1 Bitcoin, whether it's 1 Bitcoin, 10 Bitcoin, 100 Bitcoin, 1,000 Bitcoin. I don't care. Don't say, oh, I want my net worth to be $1 million, $5 million. Say I want it to be 10 Bitcoin, or I want it to be 5 Bitcoin. And if you're buying altcoins to take profits back into Bitcoin and you're moving towards that goal, that is going to be how you set yourself up the best for the long term in the future. I just wanted to kind of come back and reiterate that. Obviously, we're speculating all the time, but at the end of the day, our goal is to stack more Bitcoin. I've got my number. I wouldn't share your number with a lot of people, just like they tell you, don't share your crazy goals, because people are always going to try to shoot you down and tell you not to go for them. But because I do think there's going to be a wave of increased crypto primes in the future as well. But yeah, set your financial goal, frame it in Bitcoin, and use all the information and knowledge and stuff you learn from this channel and many others to get you there.
Here you go. Read a couple of chats here. Are you going live when Powell speaks later? Yeah, we're going to go live. Drew is going to pass the baton to Josh, and probably just going to keep it trucking there.
Yeah, we'll probably be live. We'll probably end up being live most of the day. So.
And shout out to Pete and Pete. It was Iggy Pop was the rocker. I looked it up after the episode. He did like 5-6 episodes. Credited for 5, but he did a 6th. Let's see here. A couple others I wanted to read here. We have, didn't JP Morgan do this with gold as well? Find $1 billion, but made over 10 billion. Many such cases with financial frauds, financial crimes. Yeah, we made 2 billion. But the fine was only 200 million. And you're like, well, that just incentivized them to do it again and do it again and do it again. And we see it time and time again.
That's what I posted that the other day. Anything that's punishable by fine means legal for a price.
Legal for a price. That's a great way of framing it. And we have Chewy. Love what you do on Pawn Stars. Of the altcoins you currently hold, what would you continue to hold through the bear market? And someone actually answered quite well. Maybe Chainlink, ETH, and absolutely nothing else. I do think ETH could be, sell some just in case there is some crazy super cycle. You should be taking some profit into Bitcoin. Chainlink, Cardano, Solana, maybe just Chainlink. Yeah, maybe just those 3 ETH. I would be comfortable not full porting everything into Bitcoin, but I would still sell significant amounts into Bitcoin.
Yeah, for
What's your
me,
favorite? All you don't mind holding through the bear. Shouldn't tether, really. That's about it.
yeah, I mean, if we're talking about like straight portfolio management, it'd be Bitcoin. Anything I might keep some DeFi type positions. So it's like if I'm doing some stuff in Solana DeFi, ETH DeFi, or even like these days we're doing Avalanche stuff. So some of those underpinned positions that are based on, that are in ETH, I might keep those because those have been producing very well. If you guys haven't joined our Discord yet, obviously you can make money buying Bitcoin, you can make money selling, longing or shorting, but you can also do very well with DeFi strategies. We're doing pretty considerably well right now. And so some of those, those print really well when Bitcoin or when crypto stays in a tight range. If that happens to, in 2026, 2027, I'll probably hold on to those positions. But for the most part, I'd say 90% plus will be in Bitcoin. And to be fair, I think over 70% of my portfolio is in Bitcoin right now. So
All
75
right.
even.
Let's see. I was going into log. There was one I staked. When you said that, it kind of reminded me. Oh yeah, sometimes I do have staking DeFi positions and coins I don't know is going to go down, but I want to accumulate more and just kind of have a set it and forget it. SNEC was one of those. I started mining or not mining, staking on MinSwap, and so just kind of wrote it up and just gained SNEC and gained ADA. And I'm kind of just saying that to roll into this. Crypto.com just listed SNEC. This isn't as important for SNEC as it is for the entire C&T ecosystem. It's incredibly difficult if you don't know the code, of course, but most of these exchanges don't have people who know Rust and Plutus and some of these Cardano coding languages. So when you onboard when you go through the process of adding one Cardano native token or an altcoin on Cardano, it tends to maybe cascade into, might see a few others pretty quickly there.
Mm-hmm.
And also interesting timing with what we're seeing with the Knight token.
Yeah, well, we've had some interesting insights coming. You got some.
And I may have heard some secrets.
Yeah,
I heard some secrets about Knight token. Okay, I know something. I can't share it. I can't share it,
NDAs,
and I want to share it.
NDAs. Yeah,
I can't say anything, but let's just say maybe get those wallets ready, folks.
Yeah.
Just get those wallets ready. All right. Smash the likes, everybody. Thank you, John Foster. All right. Let's talk about other big news. Speaking of exchanges, JP Morgan is going to allow crypto purchases with Coinbase.
This made me laugh this morning. Jamie Dimon, one of the most notorious haters of Bitcoin. At one point even like threatening to fire his employees if they were
fire anybody who talks about Bitcoin.
Exactly. And he's just been naysaying, and now
do you fire anybody who talks about a certain playboy in South Florida that you did banking services for decades?
Yeah, is his closest. Yeah, well,
no, you didn't. Mum silence was the word on that one.
Yep. Epstein's banker finally decides to allow Bitcoin purchases. It is interesting in partnership with Coinbase. I'll let you cover it, but this is what I'm talking about. Big banks, they can't fight it anymore. They have to. Bitcoin has won this battle. They have to participate.
All right. Well, Coinbase announced, what are the details here? And then we'll look at Chase. They announced Wednesday that the Chase credit card holders can use their cards to buy crypto on Coinbase. In addition, JP Morgan customers will be able to redeem their points for USDC starting next year. So first major rewards program redeemable for crypto. There are smaller ones, but I guess they're saying this is the first major one. The more important aspect of this is the size of JP Morgan Chase. It's the largest bank in the United States and the largest by market cap as of 2024. Not as many assets as BlackRock, but they're more valuable when it comes to like the value of the company. Market cap, the 12th most valuable company, period, up there with like Tesla and Nvidia. 300,000 employees, 4,800 branches, 84 million consumers, 7 million small businesses, 18 million checking accounts, and it's in 100 countries. So essentially America's largest bank. I think the People's Bank of China is a lot larger, but America's largest bank and one of the world's largest banks is going all in on crypto as the CEO goes on MSNBC to, FUD it essentially.
Yeah. And what's interesting, like you mentioned, more than BlackRock and also much more retail facing. Most of BlackRock stuff is very, high net worth, companies, institutional, that kind of stuff. So they're both substantial, but also Bank of America, I think, is the number 2 bank here, and they've already been highly committed to making crypto happen. So this is just another step in that direction. They can't fight the demand. The other thing that's fascinating there is all those stats you were showing about, how many branches and employees and all this sort of stuff.
Who's the 2 states getting crapped on?
Well,
Wyoming, maybe. I heard Ohio's not real.
It's probably Alaska, if I had to guess, and I don't know.
Dog the Bounty Hunter has got no coverage in Hawaii.
Hawaii and Alaska, maybe just for geographical reasons.
They say Barack was born there.
Yeah, I mean everybody's in Hawaii.
With blue roofs.
Huh?
With blue roofs. I'm joking. I don't think there's anything there. VPN, I use unlimited. I'm not, saying it's the world's best or anything. Which VPN do you use?
I've got a Nord is one I use. I've got a couple. I'm Blue. Like you said, unlimited Nord. They're all pretty much fine.
Unrelated to the Nord Stream pipeline. I probably shouldn't have said that. YouTube's not going to like it. Smash that like button. It really does help us counteract some of the overlords. They may not be happy with all the things that we're saying. And Kelly, good job. Yeah, Kelly actually in Hawaii right now. Shout out to Kelly.
Yeah, he's doing, as far as I know, he's doing all right. I haven't heard from him this morning, but I was talking to him last night. So,
all right. Well, I'm sure he's doing good, and his voice might be a little hoarse. Was it a little hoarse?
What?
Was Kelly's voice a little hoarse?
I was texting
Is he out there having a good time?
I was texting. No. I mean, they're all worried about the tsunami.
Oh yeah, that tsunami ended up being largely a nothing burger.
Yeah, it wasn't nearly as bad. 3-foot wave, something like that. It wasn't nearly as bad as it looked like it was going to be.
Yeah, so that's good that it wasn't nearly as bad as what we saw in was it Malaysia? Yeah, that one was pretty bad. All right, let's talk about Jack Mallers here. 21 Capital expects to add 5,800 Bitcoin before their planned listing. Now they've upped their holdings, probably out the gate, going to be 43,500 Bitcoin.
Jeez.
They're going to be the 3rd largest corporate Bitcoin treasury, and their average cost is going to be 87,000.
That's pretty good.
12,000 sats per share. I do like this metric there, 12,000 sats per share. But if we look, all right, so 5,800 Bitcoin's roughly 118K. So 5,800 Bitcoin times $118,000 Bitcoin, you get a 684 million addition. Remember, this is only 5,800 Bitcoin. They're gonna have 43,000, so almost 10x that. So yeah, you're looking at like $5 billion worth of Bitcoin out the gate. And Jack Mallers with a hot take on why Bitcoin's going to pump. The government is using institutions like BlackRock to run Bitcoin up as high as they can, because this will require equal amounts of stablecoin, which really isn't true, which means equal amounts of U.S. Treasuries, aka debt. Let's watch this play out. What do you think of this harebrained conspiracy?
Wait, Bitcoin.
The government is running up Bitcoin via their probably blackmail over bankers or just the power dynamics there. And this is going to increase the stablecoin market cap, which will then increase the amount of U.S. Treasuries bought. I don't
understand the connection between the stablecoin, why does the Bitcoin price going up increase the stablecoin market cap?
Because often when you have a large institution, I don't know if it's often. Some of the time, when a large institution is buying Bitcoin, they'll mint the tether to buy the Bitcoin.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I haven't heard that theory. I'm not sure. I mean, we'll see it play out. I do think prices are going up. I was just thinking there's, somebody was talking about, all these governments that have been buying up gold recently and the main reason they're doing it is for de-dollarization, which makes sense. If you can see the dollar being inflated away, if you have any doubts about the US dollar's strength over time at all, you would want to be able to be a sovereign nation with gold. But then you just think about the practicality of settling a big transaction in gold. So like say India wanted to send, $30 billion worth of gold to China. Can you imagine what that process would be if they actually...
Yeah, you get Galsum to teleport to Honda's bathhouse.
Right. And then
Japan.
And then with Bitcoin, it's literally like, oh, that solves an incredibly huge, costly, time-consuming, insane problem, in 15 minutes. So like when that starts sinking into governments, like, wait a minute, no, we can settle global trade with people we don't trust efficiently. Yeah, I want to participate in that system. And so Yeah, gold is great and it's good for holding, but it's not really good for transporting, especially in large quantities. So,
all right. So we put out this video yesterday. U.S. dollar is crashing, scary inflation crisis. Basically, I'm kind of breaking down a lot of what TJ's saying here. But I'm also gonna do another video tonight, and I'm gonna bring up. I'll go ahead and show you. I almost don't want to show you here. I think it's XAU. No, it's going to be BTC USD priced in XAU USD, if I'm not mistaken here. And that's going to take us, yes, I still have the same chart. This is the amount of ounces of gold each Bitcoin can buy you. We're looking at a weekly chart. You zoom out, like obviously Bitcoin first came out. You can't buy any gold with it. You buy, some dust, some specks. 2017, it got as high as 15 ounces of gold for every one Bitcoin. This is a parallel trading range that we have been stuck in all the way since December 22. So you can see the recent spike when Bitcoin from the Trump pump, gold hadn't pumped yet. So we got up to 41 ounces of gold, pretty close to what we saw in the 2021 peaks. I feel like this parallel channel is going to play out. We'll do the math. I got to bust out the accountant hat, maybe bust out some Excel spreadsheets. But if you want to see how it plays out, if gold hits here, 46, 47 ounces of gold, what do you think one Bitcoin costs? Stay tuned for tonight's video. I think that one's going to be good.
Sounds good.
I already started the research and my palms were sweaty. Okay. I felt like Eminem out there. I felt like Eminem and Happy Gilmore too. Trash talking Happy.
Yeah, Eminem should
one of the better characters in the movie.
Yeah, there's tons of good ones. There's so many I didn't even know. Like you were telling me, like, oh, this is that person. I was like, oh, I didn't know. I thought it was just a waiter. Like
Travis Kelce was in it. They had to get the T Swifty Nation, so they got
they
onboarded all the Swifties.
The other waiter was, what'd you say, it was Bad Bunny?
Bad Bunny. I can't name one song I've ever heard of him. Yeah, but I'm sure I've heard it in Uber before.
Yeah.
I can say that, right? I can say that. All right, let's talk about bull market cycle peaks here. Last 3 bull run cycles. 2013, it was 371 days to peak. 2017, 504 days. 2021, 548. Each cycle is getting longer. That means the real blow off top, accordingly, could be November 25. I think we're going to be in like the 600 days. I don't know about November. I'm still thinking Q1 26 if liquidity keeps expanding with the global money supply.
Yeah, that's what's got me, the global money supply. The other thing that comes up is you were talking about those in-kind redemptions and the way that could the way that those things are structured and the ETF buying and selling, like what we're seeing with gold when its ETF launched and kind of went on an 8 to 10 year bull run after that. I'm starting to really believe, and I'm going to have to wait and see what prices are at in November, September, October, November. But I really, really, really starting to think we could see a bullish activity through most of 2026, especially if they come out and do more spending bills. It could just be, almost very similar to, we're getting into like S&P kind of numbers where it's just up only,
Someone's suggesting do $4,000 ounce price. That's probably what I do. I think 5,000 might be a little too bullish. So yeah, we'll say, at today's price, if it hits the top of this range, this is at today's price, 47 ounces of gold equals how much per Bitcoin? And $4,000 an ounce equals how much per Bitcoin?
This guy says 7K, so he's super bullish.
Hey, what's going on, J-Chains? Super cycle theory. I'm not that bullish, but I do think we have the extended cycle. Gold, I think, is going to continue to pump. 7K feels a little bullish, but I would say silver, I know it's a much, much smaller market cap. It's only ranked around 11 out of all market cap assets. I think silver is going to still close that gap a little bit. So I think maybe some silver bugs are going to take away from the gold bugs there a little bit there. All right, let's talk about, you're bringing up ETFs, Wall Street buying. Well, 164,000 new Bitcoin are going to be mined this year. MicroStrategy alone, year to date, meaning only since January, they bought 182,000 Bitcoin. You do the math. That's more.
That's quick math.
That's the math.
That's good math right there.
All right. 18,391. There you go. There's the difference. All right. After the next Bitcoin halving, only 82,000 new Bitcoin will mine each year during the cycle. Sailor just bought that. 25% of that over the weekend. Known as bullish enough. So right now, 164,000. Obviously, after the halving, that'll be cut in half. 82,000 during the next cycle. Next cycle is going to be roughly, it's going to be 2028. but give or take, 10, 20, 50 days. It depends on the mining difficulties there. If silver hits $200, I'm filthy rich. I'm going to be mad I didn't buy during the dip because I bought during the peak instead of buying Bitcoin because, I hated money. I hated money, I guess. All right. Well, speaking of hating, I hate to see a pseudo crypto connected founder here on Forbes. This is the death knell of a financial company. CZ was on here right before he got thrown in jail. Sam Bankman-Fried was on here right before he got thrown in jail. There's a couple other that were on here right before they got thrown in jail. I don't think Vlad Tenev is going to be thrown in jail, but I do like the rebranding with the facial hair, and he no longer looks like a vampire.
Yeah, he did. His outfit when he did go on that was the best comment I saw is like when he was announcing the X stocks and stuff on Robinhood. He was like, he told his stylist, like, make me look like a Bond villain, and then he went out there and with that.
Then he
outfit.
tradfied up. Yeah, he was out there. He was like, looked like Robert California on his off day, or Terry from Cobra Kai on his off day, like real rich Californian, like did a lot of mushrooms 10 years ago. And he's like, oh, I'm real smart today. Like flowing linens, and he's dressed in all white, like he's going to a Diddy party, and he had the flowing locks. And then next time you see him, he cut his hair, shaved his face, and was wearing a suit.
Yeah,
he was in front of Congress, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So, maybe he breaks the curse. Let's hope that he breaks the curse there. Hood, I saw someone say, well, selling my Hood stock now. Hood stock is one of our better performing assets there. It's outperformed almost every single crypto. We bought during the low. We were buying with Cathie Wood. It was like the 2023, I think it was December 23, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe December 22. I've been in it for a while. We're way up. We got in under $10.
Nice.
9 and some change. Right now, it's $106.
Hell yeah.
God, this does look toppy. What would if you're all right? You're in Robinhood. You can buy Doge, Bitcoin, or would you buy a stock?
Yeah, I'd be what's in my Robinhood right now is MSTY.
Oh, you have MicroStrategy. Okay.
Well, it's max yield. It's the yield options play on MicroStrategy, the one that pays the dividend based on the volatility. So it's Misty. You've heard me talk about it. It's Yield Max, which they have all kinds of products, by the way. You can buy Yield Max on Tesla. You can buy Yield Max on MicroStrategy. But what it is, it's options traders that are buying puts and calls on the volatility of a stock. So Tesla and MicroStrategy, two of the more volatile stocks, makes a lot of opportunity for the pro options traders. You're buying into a fund that they're buying and selling with, and they're paying dividends back to those. I've been seeing a lot of people do very well. And if I'm buying on Robinhood, that's what I'm buying.
I know who's playing them in the movie.
Who's that?
It was in the chat. All right, so hold on. Let me give them credit. This was Stonygate. Stonygate came up with this one here. Check out this.
Yeah, I see it.
I mean,
good one.
That's a doppelganger.
Yeah.
That's the same guy. It's the same picture, said Pam.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's talk about, keeping it on the hood and the stocks and these financial apps. eToro, I want to say it that way, to tokenize 100 of the most popular US stocks on Ethereum. We've talked about this. This is, not new news, but it looks like, it's getting a lot more. They've announced the plans now. And these are going to, of course, be on the Ethereum blockchain here. 100 of the most popular US listed stocks. Going to have some ETFs. But I like this thesis right here. Wall Street on a blockchain isn't the tokenization endgame, according to a Kraken executive. So what is the endgame? So he says simply bringing them onto a blockchain doesn't cut it. It is not the end goal. Tokenized equities, aka stocks on the blockchain, must go beyond replicating Wall Street systems on chain. They should unlock new levels of accessibility, programmability, and global reach. This isn't just about wrapping old assets in new tech. It's about rebuilding financial access to be as fluid and as programmable as crypto. I love his optimism, but I think the Citadel Securities of the world and the Aladdin trading bots of the world will fight tooth and nail to prevent this from happening for as long as possible. Citadel, of course, was behind the scandal involving GameStop. When you couldn't sell GameStop, Citadel was, kind of behind a lot of those are the allegations. Don't want to get sued here. So, Citadel is selling paper shares. Like we were talking about paper Bitcoin. There would be more people shorting a stock than there were shares tradable. And that makes absolutely no sense. So blockchain technology would fix that problem, therefore wiping away a huge profit sector of the financial markets, of traditional finance, of Wall Street. And for that reason, they're going to fight it tooth and nail because that system is how they keep their edge.
Yeah,
They don't want you to have that edge.
Yeah, I agree. More in the sense that there is a lot of money made in after hours trading. You know, like that when the markets are closed, there's a lot of businesses that revolve around the contracts you can buy and sell when markets aren't open, like you were talking about. And that has been around a long time, and there's a lot of money in it. Anytime an industry's been around a long time and has a lot of money, they've got some power to fight. Eventually, I think they will cave. And I think when they do, ironically, I think these systems you're talking about, the automated systems, the kind of trading edges that these guys have, will also flourish in a 24/7 environment. You know,
well, except for when they have like naked short selling. You can't short more cells than exist in that system.
No, yeah, I agree.
They love that.
I
They want to
agree.
keep doing that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Their business model is under, you know, they want to keep it intact. But once it does adapt, I guess what I'm saying is there will be a lot of new opportunities. They won't be doing that one specific strategy, but there'll be 100 other ones they could implement. A lot more arbitrage opportunities, a lot more. There is some very interesting things you can do with the fluidity of these things.
Yeah, they're almost going to be akin to stablecoin issuers. So stablecoin issuer, I give you $1, you go buy a U.S. Treasury, and then once you buy that U.S. Treasury, you create your digital dollar, you give it to me. So I'm going to give them $1. They're going to buy Tesla stock, then create that digital version, and then give that to me. And so maybe there's going to be some way they can earn yield on those stocks. You know, I'm sure there's smarter people than me that could find ways to monetize that. You know, maybe it's by borrowing shares, etc. But then we go into the naked short selling again. So
yeah, when the whole system updates, think about that. I mean, this is not next year. This is not 5 years from now. This is maybe 10 years from now, 8 years from now. But we really will, and there's people talked about this for a long time, the world of streaming money, where it's literally like you're getting your paycheck as you're working. Every second, every minute, you're getting things rolling into your account and rolling out, and money will be much more fluid, which creates a lot of interesting opportunities. It makes sense why everything's going to a rent or subscription service when things like that happen. But real quick, I did want to mention almost 5,000 people here watching across different platforms. Shout out to anybody watching on X or Rumble. But we're right at 420 likes. You guys know we want to hit that number at least, but really 690 should be the easy goal today. So if you're watching on mobile, sometimes you have to exit the live chat, hit that like button. That really does help us out. And we want to help push these Bitcoin prices up. And the more people that know about it get to...
And make sure you're hitting subscribe on the YouTube channel as well. If you're not subscribing, if you're watching on X, make sure you're following Discover Crypto. Like we said, we have the secrets. We have the alpha. And we're going to break it to you as soon as possible because we're making some major moves in the background over here. All right, well, let's talk about Trump on India. 25% tariff on India and a penalty the beginning of tomorrow. 2 days from now, 31 days in July, for buying Russian energy and military equipment. So Trump not happy about that. India will therefore be paying a tariff of 25% plus a penalty for the above starting in 2 days. Thank you for your attention on this matter there. So markets did not like that there, but they did like the GDP numbers. So we're seeing a little bit of a mixed bag here. We talked about the SEC redemptions. But now let's talk about ETH whale wallets are rising as the Bitcoin whales are declining. And is this the altcoin rotation being underway here? I would maybe largely agree with this. Looks like the wallets with at least 1,000 Bitcoin has fallen 1.61 in the past 2 weeks, while the ETH wallets with 10,000 has grown by 8%. Marking a clear difference in whale activity between these two cryptocurrencies. Now, obviously, not everybody is selling Bitcoin and buying Ethereum. I think a lot of people are taking profits on Bitcoin, and separately, other people are betting big on Ethereum via Wall Street. That being said, though, I do think people are rotating Bitcoin profits into ETH, though, but just maybe not as much as a lot of people are expecting. Are we going to so the major caps? There's typically a cycle with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin pumps, and then you'll see the major caps pump: ETH, XRP, Solana. Then the mid caps. TJ, what's your favorite mid cap? And I'll tell you mine too. It's like, below top 15, maybe even top 20.
Let me see. So like you're saying like 20 to 50 range?
Yeah, that's probably a good range. I do an argument for 16, 17,
I mean, Aave at number 30 is probably my favorite.
Aave number 30. I like Chainlink at number 18 and
man.
Avalanche at 22.
See, I would have put those in like large cap. I kind of do top.
Your large is larger.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I
Top
like
20.
to do large, only like 3 to 5 assets, probably.
I gotcha. I'm trying to see if there's anything interesting. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in that, Jupiter, Radium, Injective, Curve. Let's see, a lot of those, like Curve at 68, I would put those in the mid cap
What about
range.
ETH Classic?
Definitely not ETH Classic. You got Virtuals at 86, Sonic at 87, Radium at 92, Pendle at 97, Arrow at 98. There's a couple for you.
Yeah, there you go, folks. There you go. Geez, I did not realize, or at least on CoinGecko, Optimism now down to 99.
Mm-hmm.
Whoo, buddy, that one stings.
Hard to compete with Base. Like Base doesn't have a token. There's tons of activity on it. It uses Optimism. It will be a thing. And that's one thing it's important to understand with crypto is there's a difference between the need and the use for a project and the value of the token. And it just it is what it is. I don't see Optimism. I'm not saying it won't be used. I'm not saying it won't pump. Obviously, people, if they're using major applications on this, they're going to want to have some voting rights and some say in the governance. But that's a totally different reason than than the price going up for speculative reasons. So, yeah,
that one stings there. Yeah, devs do love OP, but the whales love ARB. And, it seemed like that was the shift. I famously told Josh to sell all his Optimism. I can't remember if he listened or not.
I did want to mention this while we're talking about extended cycles. I'm meant to mention this earlier. I know you've got a couple other things you wanted to hit, but this is a really interesting graph to me. I think it is, it's basically measuring the compounding rate year over year. So obviously right at the beginning, you're getting insane returns. But it's interesting right here. We're still in 2025 averaging a 42% compound growth rate. And the
CAGR.
Yeah, CAGR.
Compound annualized growth rate.
Yeah, for those at home, it's fun to say. But this graph here, I think, does kind of show the stability, balancing out. And if what's interesting is we're still at close to a 25% in 2035. So that's why I can say, like, sure, you're not mega early, but you're still early enough to make plenty of money between now and the next 10 years. So this just was interesting. I think it's a pretty realistic take on what Bitcoin might do. And you go compound that out. That's how you're getting to $1 million, $10 million, $20 million. This is a lot of how Saylor comes up with his $13 million Bitcoin numbers. And I've heard it referenced. I've just never seen it charted. So I just wanted to share that. I thought it was pretty interesting.
All right, looks like I saved someone from being an OP bag holder. Jeremiah Dixon there, 7014. Daryl Dixon. All right, we also have BCX. I will try to reduce the ahs and the Sometimes it's a little bit difficult when you're going live and you're just thinking off the top of the head and you're going from tab to tab to tab to market to market to market to story to story to story to narrative to narrative to narrative. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's look at this meme real quick. I just want to share this. I'm only sharing this because no tragedy came from this, but tsunami, World War III, Great Depression, just a crypto guy waiting for the alt season.
Yeah, he's looking. That's somebody looking for his Pump Fun airdrop or something.
I thought it was Bane at first because I got bad eyes, but no, those are headphones. He's listening to the Beats by Dre.
Gotcha. Now that's Shia LaBeouf digging a hole.
Just do it. All right, folks, that is our show for today. I am going to get into the weeds when it comes to gold and Bitcoin, and I'm going to expose what the big banks are doing with their Bitcoin exposure. We don't have Q2 numbers just yet. That's going to not come until August 15th, roughly. They have 45 days after the end of Q2 to report their numbers. End of Q2 was June 30th. So we're still a couple weeks away, but we're hearing the rumors now. So I'm trying to give you the alpha before it actually happens. We are the most informed channel out there in crypto. We are Discover Crypto. We bring you content 7 days a week. We're live all the time. So we do appreciate it if you share this stream, hit that like button, maybe smash the subscribe if you're not already. And
turn on notifications. We'll be back later today for Jay Powell and lots of good stuff.
All right, there.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.